Once again, welcome back to the program. ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਅਤੁਲ ਤਿਵਾਰੀ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੇਜਿੰਗ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਹਨ ਵੈਨਗਾਰਡ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਤੋਂ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲਵਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਵਾਟ ਆਰ ਦ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲਸ ਆਫ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ। ਆਓ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੁਲ ਤਿਵਾਰੀ ਨਾਲ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thank you,
Thank you, Atul.
Great to be here.
So today, with your experience in investment and in this field, we would like to have your expertise for our viewers. What are the fundamentals of investing and what should the people keep in mind? Because everybody wants their money to grow. And most of the time, especially in our South Asian community and especially amongst the Punjabi community, we find we generally think that real estate is the best option for us, whereas where we invest our money and it will grow. And as far as bonds or stocks are concerned, we are not well versed with it. So take us on this journey and tell us what are the basic fundamentals of investment and what should be kept in mind.
Okay, thank you, Harpreet. This is a very important topic, obviously.
Thank you.
At Vanguard, when we talk to advisors, we work with them on determining what their clients' objectives are.
Mm-hmm.
And so as an individual, you need to think about what do you want to accomplish.
Right.
You want your money to grow so you can buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
You want to send your children to university, educate
Right.
them, and then you want to have enough left over to provide you with a nice retirement once you've completed all of your work and have retired.
Right.
So it's very important to first of all consider your life goals, when you will need what amounts of money,
Mm-hmm.
and then you work backwards and
Right.
you determine how much risk are you willing to take
Right.
to get to those objectives.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have that determined, and by the way, if that's something that's beyond your own ability to do, then it's
Mm-hmm.
very important that you find a good advisor to help you through this process.
Right, that's a very important point.
Yes.
Put your touch, good advisor, because many a times people don't know their risk tolerability. They don't know for how long they want to invest or what are their goals.
Right.
So when you talk about good advisors, can they help them align with them with their goals and understand as to what they need?
Right, and that's absolutely important.
Okay.
To find that advisor who can set your financial plan.
Right.
That's what will come out of these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first part.
Right.
Your financial plan will then help you decide what percentage of stocks should you own, what
Right.
percentage of bonds should you own.
Mm-hmm.
And as you've pointed out, this plan should also take into account other investments that you have or want to make,
Right.
like real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be wrapped into this whole discussion.
Okay.
Often when we talk about investments, we neglect to talk about the other things that people own. We talk only about stocks and bonds.
Right.
So that's important. Now that said, with respect to stocks and bonds,
Mm-hmm.
again, it depends on how much risk you think that you can handle.
Right.
That will determine how you invest within stocks and within bonds.
Right.
Classically, in the past anyway, people have said, for the most part, depending upon your age, if you're reasonably young with a long-term horizon of investing, it's safe to go more into equities,
Mm-hmm.
because you will take a little bit more risk,
Right.
but your return should be higher
Right.
than if you are in bonds.
Mm-hmm.
There's a purpose for bonds in your portfolio, so you should have some bonds,
Mm-hmm.
and as you get older, the percentage of bonds should increase and the percentage of equity should decrease,
Right.
because that's natural. You don't want to take as much risk as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
So within that, it's very important to look at where your investments are, because
Right.
you want to be diversified.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have all of your equities in the Canadian market, for example,
Right.
because the Canadian market's very concentrated.
Mm-hmm.
It's one small economy in the world that only represents 6%
Right.
of the global capital market.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're very concentrated in energy, in financials, and in materials, and we don't get exposure to areas like healthcare or technology or consumer goods, because our economy is just not that big.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important that a percentage of your equities stay in Canada,
Right.
but that you also invest in
Outside also.
right
Okay.
countries like the United States, which is
Right.
the broadest and deepest and most diversified market in the world,
Right.
as well as developed markets outside of North America,
Mhm.
and emerging markets,
Right.
which would be like India, like China,
Mhm.
because those are the markets for the future.
Right.
And if you have a percentage of your allocation towards those markets,
Mhm.
over the longer term, you hopefully will outperform the Canadian and the US market.
Right.
So it's important to stay diversified as well.
Okay. One question that generally our viewers ask us when we get financial experts is that is it better to invest lump sum even if you don't have to borrow it from the banks or companies, or gradually every month also you should keep on investing?
That's a good question. There's been studies on both, and sometimes it depends on the time period as to when you invest.
Okay.
We would say the most important thing is, again, going back to your asset allocation,
Right.
to monitor that maybe once or twice a year. You don't want to do it too often. You don't want to look every day or every week. I know it's fun to do, but you don't want to keep changing things because you need to take a bit of a longer view on these things. So if you look at, let's say, twice a year, look at your portfolio. If your allocation is out of balance, you then balance back to it.
Okay.
So this is the tough part, because if equities do well, suddenly instead of being 60-40, you're 70-30.
Right.
Now what you should do, say twice a year, is bring that 70% down to 60, so you sell some of your winners and buy some of the losers, which are the bonds. Very hard to do, because emotionally you want to stick with the winner, right?
Absolutely.
But again, the studies will tell you that by sticking with your asset allocation and rebalancing, let's say twice a year, you will do better in the long term.
Now when you say about rebalancing, that is the time that your advisor who has some knowledge, because generally what we feel is once you've invested in one thing, it's going to continue the whole of your life. That's the kind of impression we have. So when you talk about rebalancing, what you are saying is that ask your advisor that you advise, we want to shift from here. Can that be done?
Absolutely.
Without any charges and all that?
There will be some, depending on how your arrangements are with your advisor.
Right.
Some advisors operate on a commission basis. Others will operate on a fee basis.
Right.
And personally, from a Vanguard point of view, we think that the fee basis is the way to go, because it's transparent. That way, the advisor will tell you upfront what % you'll be charged, and you will know that amount. And the other thing that it does is it allows the advisor to choose the investments within your portfolio that would be best suited for you. And often that involves buying the lowest cost product that is of the best quality into your portfolio. So they won't be as, say, influenced by other factors when they're deciding the investments for you. So that is important. And that's really the biggest value that advisors can add to you as an investor. Really is that. It's helping you with your long-term planning, your tax planning, as well as what we call behavioral coaching. And that's what the behavioral coaching is. When you want to sell and it's exactly the wrong time, your advisor can help you not sell.
Not to sell it at that time. Absolutely. And towards the end, another major crisis what we are finding in Canada is right now there's no retirement age. People who are retiring are also working. So towards the end, what would be your message to our viewers today as to is there a way whereby they can start saving for their retirement right now? Like, of course, investment, the sooner the better it is. But still, even if they're in the 30s or 40s, can they still start with some kind of saving every month so that they can put it into that retirement kind of fund? And are there plans available whereby just for the retirement purpose in mind, they can start saving so that they get a lump sum at that particular time?
Sure, yeah. And that's right. So again, you can put in lump sum, you can put in quarterly, every half year. It really doesn't matter as long as you're contributing. The important thing is to save so that you can contribute. And there are plans available. Often mutual fund companies, ETF companies will provide an ability for a certain amount to go in automatically. Your own, if you're employed with a company, they may have a retirement plan that they can take from your salary and put it right into the plan, which is easy because then you don't have to think about it.
So whatever it is, take out and invest. That's your basic message.
That's right. Save and invest. And the younger you are, again, the more you can take a little bit more risk in your equities and invest into those, because over time, those are going to give you generally the better returns.
Mr. Atul, thank you very much for this perspective.
Thank you, Harpreet.
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਅਤੁਲ ਤਿਵਾਰੀ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸੇਵਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਮਸਮ ਪੈਸਾ ਹੀ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਘੱਟ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਡਿਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਚੰਗਾ ਐਡਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਸਲਾਹ ਲੈਣੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਐਡਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਅਗੇਨ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਇਹ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰੇ, ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਰੀਬੈਲੈਂਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਡਾਇਵਰਸੀਫਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿ 2-3-4 ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰੀਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਐਡਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਂਡ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ। ਜੇਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਤੋਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਇੱਕ ਥਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਪੈਸਾ ਲਾਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਪਏਗਾ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਅੱਜ ਪਲਾਨਸ ਅਵੇਲੇਬਲ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ ਦੇ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ।